Katsuki Bakugo, also known as Kaken by his childhood friends, and his hero named Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite, is a student in Class 1A at UA High School, training to become a pro hero. He is the protagonist of this series. Katsuki is a young man of average height, with a slim, muscular build, and a fair skin tone. He has short, spiky, sandy blonde hair with choppy bangs that hang over his eyebrows. His eyes are sharp and bright red. At school, he wears the standard UA uniform without the customary red tie. Underneath his blazer, he wears a white collared shirt with the top few buttons undone. His pants are worn loosely, causing them to sag at his ankles, despite him wearing a belt with them. His hero costume is composed of a tight, black, sleeveless tank top, with an orange X across the middle, forming a V-neck. There are 2 dots along the left line of his collar, indicating the support company that designed his costume. His costume also has a metallic neck brace worn with rectangular ends that have 3 holes on each side. His sleeves reach from within his large grenade-like gauntlets to his biceps. His belt, which also carries grenades, holds up his baggy pants with knee guards, below which he sports black, knee-high combat boots with orange soles and eyelets. His mask is jagged and black, and as it goes around his eyes, a large, orange-rimmed flare shape protrudes from each side. In the winter months, he wears a large jacket with a high collar, rather than the usual tank top, although it does have the same orange X design, so he can still sweat a sufficient amount, which is how his quirk works. While interning under Best Jeanist, the fiber hero attempted to teach Katsuki the importance of maintaining a positive appearance. To that end, he took the liberty of making some changes to Katsuki's outward appearance to make him look less intimidating. During this tenure, his wild spiky hair was combed into a neat side part. Best Jeanist also made changes to Katsuki's hero costume. He got rid of Katsuki's mask and grenade gauntlets and had him wear a pair of smart blue denim jeans in place of his usual baggy pants. During mission, Humorize, Katsuki and his fellow internees at the Endeavor Agency are given special advanced stealth costumes by the World Heroes Association for their mission to Wathon. Based on the winter variant of his costume, Katsuki designed his stealth costume to be all neoprene black except an orange X, the soles of his boots, and his gloves while retaining the metal knee pads, and his metallic neck brace has 2 holes on each side instead of 3. The grenadier bracers were redesigned to be shaped like flashbang grenades rather than frag grenades. He also has 2 silver plates on his shoulders with the letters WHA and 2 straps coming down from his neck brace with the red button on the left. Due to the injuries he sustained during the Paranormal Liberation War, Katsuki has 2 scars on his body, one on his left shoulder and one on his lower stomach area. Furthermore, during his final battle against Tamura Shigaraki, his right arm was badly crushed by the villain and the right side of his face has been heavily scarred. Katsuki is a crude, arrogant, short-tempered, and aggressive person. Especially at the beginning of the series, Katsuki tends to come off as unheroic. This problematic behavior goes back to his early childhood days when he was known to bully a young, quirkless, Izuku Midoriya. He showed to be extremely arrogant and condescending to those around him, often bragging of his explosion quirk's power, and even boasting that he would take on his entire middle school class. He showed open hostility towards Izuku, mainly because of his former quirkless status, and would frequently put down his dream of becoming a hero, despite lacking a quirk, and also gave him the insulting nickname Deku, meaning useless and unable to achieve anything. He even threatened Izuku not to apply to UA High School and became angry upon both of them passing the entrance exam, wanting to be the only person from his middle school to make it there. However, after being accepted into UA and experiencing several personal defeats, one of them even coming from Izuku, Katsuki has gradually changed into a less antagonistic person, albeit still retaining a lot of his unpleasant traits. While often portrayed negatively, Katsuki's fierce character and competitive drive have granted him an important role among Class 1A, as a sort of inspirational mood maker, determined and thirsty for victory. Katsuki smiles eerily when in the middle of a battle. He is incredibly focused on achieving his authentic victories and has learned to never underestimate his opponents. Katsuki is not only very athletic and talented at fighting, but also very intelligent and extremely perceptive, capable of strategic planning and improvisation. Moreover, Katsuki's grades are among the highest in his class and he already knew how to read perfectly by the age of 4, evidence that he treats studying seriously. Katsuki also possesses surprising talent in other areas, such as cooking and music, even though he doesn't show a particular interest in them. Overall, Katsuki is considered a natural-born genius with the potential to be one of the best pro-heroes around. While a rather volatile hero in training, Katsuki is smart enough to discern who his enemies and allies are. He is not particularly nice or open with people who are on his side, or anyone else for that matter, but will act less unfriendly and sometimes even kind to those that manage to earn his respect. Because of his attitude and vulgar language, Katsuki's UA classmates often react negatively to him, although they have come to appreciate his skills and warm up to his personality. Katsuki matures slowly through his time at UA, coming to befriend some of his classmates and willingly engaging in social interaction with them, though remaining solitary for the most part. Like with Izuku, Katsuki has a habit of bestowing insulting nicknames upon others, such as calling Tenya Ida Four Eyes because of his glasses, Danki Kaminori Dunce Face because of how his electrification quirk dulls his thinking, Shato Todoroki Half and Half or Icy Hot because of his dual quirk and appearance, and so on. He almost refers to people he doesn't know as extras, treating them as little more than fodder or stepping stones to his victory until he faces them head-on. Despite this, he can address others properly when it matters, such as when he's serious or in the heat of battle. Katsuki tends to disregard the notion that quirks shouldn't be used in public, and will activate his quirks for several reasons, such as to intimidate someone, to punctuate a point, out of frustration, or even if he just feels like showing off. Overall, Katsuki doesn't seem to care very much about what others think of him, barely containing himself from violent behavior, although he avoids other typical delinquent practices like underage smoking. Katsuki values honesty highly and never lies, to the point his brash candor is seen by some as rude and insensitive. He is never afraid of speaking his mind and will notice when people are not being truthful to him. This shows that, despite his antisocial habits, Katsuki is an excellent judge of character, making it hard to deceive him. Due to the constant praise of his abilities and powerful quirk, Katsuki has developed a superiority complex, and because of that, he desires to be the first and best at everything. As pointed out by many people, Katsuki loves to win above all else and cannot stand it when he doesn't, leading him to lose his already short temper or, less often, sulk. He is fiercely competitive and will never settle for less than the number 1 spot, having a compulsive need to always strive for victory and also prove people who dealt him wrong. However, Katsuki also values hard work and fair play, to the point of refusing to acknowledge a winning result if he feels that his victory was not earned by actual merit. Along with that, he detests being pitied or looked down on by others, and will hold contempt towards those that don't take him seriously, while recognizing the effort of those that manage to put up a challenge against him, like, for example, Okoko Uraraka and Ijiro Kirishima. Because of his quirk and talents, Katsuki is very confident and brave to the where he is willing to go against anyone who challenges him. He never backs down from a fight and will go out when facing such a powerful opponent. From taking on several villains at the unforeseen simulation joint, Katsuki knows when dealing with someone that is out of his league, as he let All Might face off against Namu. During the first term final exam, Katsuki wasn't afraid to go up against All Might, even though he knew he had a low chance of taking him down head-on. Katsuki is immensely prideful and prefers to act alone, as he hates the idea of being protected or having to rely on other people to assist him unless, in the latter's case, he is recognized as the unquestionable leading figure within a team. At the beginning of the series, Katsuki's cooperativeness was nothing short of atrocious, often ignoring his partner's ideas and suggestions for his own very direct approaches. His teamwork skills gradually improve as the series progresses, even if Katsuki keeps coming off as condescending through his usual tone. However, it's clear he now acknowledges their importance, protecting them from harm while expecting them to do the same for him in return. As a leader, Katsuki is a merciless perfectionist, and will only become satisfied with complete, indisputable victories. Katsuki often has difficulty accepting his mistakes and shortcomings, and will fiercely deny them whenever they are pointed out by others, regardless of who does it. That doesn't mean, however, that Katsuki doesn't listen to advice, having come to realize his faults and how to somewhat improve on them thanks to the words and actions of other people like All Might and Best Jeanist. But he will never outright admit due to his pride. He prefers to self-reflect in silence and solitude, becoming a bit more brooding during those periods. Katsuki's unchecked pride and aggression have cost him victories on numerous occasions, like the battle trial or the provisional hero license exam, and it tends to worsen whenever Izuku is involved. Both characters share a sensitive history, with Katsuki, in particular, being unable to completely overcome his issues with Izuku. Although this has not stopped them from working together many times, Katsuki has a more vulnerable side, having been led to tears due to damaged pride a few times. After the battle trial, Katsuki admitted that when he saw Shito Todoroki's power, he couldn't beat him head-on and called out how Momo Yaorazu was right about how reckless he was during his fight with Izuku. Katsuki has also shown moments of fear and guilt, the latter due to viewing himself and his weakness as the cause of All Might losing his remaining power and retiring as a hero. Still, due to years of misunderstandings, tension, and pride, Katsuki has difficulty doing the same thing toward Izuku. By the time of the remedial course, Katsuki had started to mature enough to the point that he was able to advise a kid, who acted similarly to him, that if he continued to look down on others then he would not realize his own mistakes. Despite this growth, he has certain personality traits that he doesn't immediately get over, like joining the Class 1A band during the UA school festival under the pretense of beating the other classes through music, or calling his classmates in the joint training battle underlings. During his internship at the Endeavor Agency, he also berates Burnin for speaking so loudly in the morning, despite having been scolded by his mother for doing the very same thing. Katsuki also has an honorable side to him. While he didn't believe about Izuku's quirk belonged to someone else, as well as falsely assumed that Izuku had been hiding it from him the entire time, when he learned of All for One and his quirk, he started to believe Izuku's words and pieced it together after seeing All Might's true form, confronting the former about his assumption. After all Might confirmed his deduction, Katsuki vowed to keep One for All a secret, being one of the few people to know about the true power of the quirk. While his inspiration for becoming a hero was the same as Izuku's, the symbol of peace, All Might, their beliefs differ. Katsuki feels a hero should never stop fighting or give up, regardless of the threat they face, and that always winning is the mark of a true hero. Furthermore, various heroes, civilians, and even villains have commented on his arrogance and conceit. However, Katsuki is unwavering in his aspirations of heroism, having outright refused Tamura Shigaraki's proposal for him to join the League of Villains because he views the villains as people who lose and not win like heroes. It is later revealed that Katsuki decided to help Izuku train One for All to atone for his actions. During Katsuki's discussion with All Might about his connections to Izuku, Katsuki admitted that he bullied Izuku as an outlet for his insecurities and that he couldn't understand why Izuku would put others before himself. In truth, Katsuki cares for Izuku despite how he acts and wishes for him to continue improving his strength and quirks. Unlike before when he ridiculed Izuku's efforts and told him how he wouldn't amount to anything, his caring and protective side is further proven when he heard that Tamura was targeting One for All, immediately realizing that the villain leader would be going after Izuku and making attempts to keep Tamura away from him. After Izuku left UA to face All for One alone, as well as to protect his friends and family from danger, Katsuki, along with his classmates, departed from the school to bring him back. Following a battle to get Izuku to come to his senses, Katsuki genuinely apologizes to the former for his actions while calling Izuku by his first name, displaying his regret over trying to usurp Izuku's strengths by putting him down and for bullying him in the past. This proves that Katsuki is repentant over his faults, with him willing to face them to atone for his past actions, and now sees Izuku as a true ally, friend, and rival figure. Overall abilities: Katsuki has proven to be one of the strongest students in Class 1A, earning third place in the quirk apprehension test, while placing first in both the UA entrance exam, having the most villain points, and the UA sports festival. Katsuki's fighting style is an all-out offense, using his quirk's propulsive abilities to close the distance between him and his opponents, followed by a bombardment of close-range attacks that often start with the powerful right hook. Katsuki can use his explosion to propel himself through midair, blind opponents, and release long-range blasts, among other applications. The explosion is a versatile quirk, especially for battle situations, as the recoil caused by the blasts can be exploited by Katsuki for mobility purposes. During the USJ incident, Katsuki was able to single-handedly overpower and immobilize Kurogiri, a highly capable villain. At the UA Sports Festival, he was able to defeat Fumikaze Tokoyami and Shido Todoroki, who were considered the two other strongest students in Class 1A at that point. Many notable pro heroes, such as Shota Aizawa and All Might, have praised Katsuki's prowess, noting the sheer amount of potential he carries. The League of Villains also took notice of Katsuki's strength and went as far as trying to kidnap him so he could be converted to their cause, even if it meant sacrificing members of the Vanguard Action Squad, as his potential membership would have far exceeded the risk. Katsuki is strong enough to fight toe-to-toe and even overpower Izuku when he's using 5% of One for All, though was pushed back and nearly defeated once Izuku began using 8%. During the joint training battle, Katsuki displayed that, despite the cold weather conditions of the winter season weakening his quirk, he can still fight efficiently. Katsuki has also become slightly less insubordinate when paired with people and has developed a degree of camaraderie, as he utilizes his abilities to repel opponents that overpower his comrades. Not willing to let Izuku get ahead of him and never taking his intended goal of surpassing All Might lightly, Katsuki is always building up his power, improving his technique, and looking forward to knowing what he is not able to do right now, with the intent of being able to do so in the future. Katsuki's unstoppable drive to win is perhaps his biggest strength, with all of his classmates, including Izuku, having faith in his ability to earn victories. By the time of the Paranormal Liberation raid, Katsuki's overall abilities and proficiency have significantly increased, and he's even able to match the speed of Izuku using One for All at 30%. Just like Izuku, he's also grown to the point he can fight side by side with world-class pros, such as Endeavor and Gran Torino. Enhanced strength: Katsuki possesses a high-caliber physical strength, confirmed by his ability to use his grenade bracers without sustaining effects from recoil, whereas Izuku nearly dislocated his arm trying to do so. He's also strong enough to casually pick up and throw people of Izuku's size a considerable distance with one arm. His physical power is even enough to draw blood from Izuku at 5% of One for All with a kick. Enhanced reflexes: perhaps Katsuki's greatest physical trait is his fantastic reflexes and reaction time. He's shown on several occasions overwhelming his foes with his speed or completely evading all their attacks while striking back, such as in his battles with Okoko, Cider House, and Izuku, even when the latter was at 5% of One for All. Once Izuku began utilizing 8% of his true power, Katsuki was quickly pushed back and nearly unable to keep up at all. His superb reflexes even allow him to evade a jet of carbonated water strong enough to cleave a street lamp in two. Typically, jets of water that can cut through metal travel at 760 meters per second, 1,700 miles per hour, which is over twice the speed of sound. Even when suffering from multiple stab wounds, he could temporarily hold his own against the near high ends with help from other heroes. Enhanced durability. Katsuki is shown to possess above-average endurance and durability. He's tough enough to withstand the blowback of his explosions regularly with only moderate pain. He blocked an 8% kick from Izuku without his arm breaking as well, though received a major scratch because of it. He was even proven to withstand attacks from All Might, while restraining himself, though not with extreme amounts of pain. Keen intellect. Katsuki has proven to be extremely intelligent and strategic. While he occasionally doesn't have preemptive strategies like most people, he does analyze his opponent's weaknesses, such as when he realized Fumikage's weakness to light during the UA Sports Festival amid battle and can anticipate worst-case scenarios. Even when fighting the weaker villains during the unforeseen simulation joint, Katsuki quickly assessed which of the attacking villains was the most dangerous threat in the long term and eventually figured out a way to incapacitate Kurogiri, one of the invasion's leaders. He also knew that Kurogiri had a weakness and bound his body to hinder his escape. By doing this, he effectively trapped the League of Villains in the USJ until Namu attacked. When being warned of a monster attack by Katsuma Shimano, he was quickly able to deduce that it was merely an illusion cast by Meihiro Shimano because it lacked a shadow. Even outside of battle, Katsuki is incredibly perceptive, having deducted the truth about One for All by just piecing together comments and interactions surrounding Izuku, All Might, and even All for One. Katsuki can seemingly detect when people are aligned to him by just reading into their behaviors and expressions. Still, Katsuki's short temper gets the best of him often, causing him to overlook crucial details and commit mistakes. Leadership skills. Katsuki has always been criticized for his lack of cooperativeness, usually as a result of his overwhelming ego that prevents him from following the lead of others. However, thanks to Katsuki's very own determination, perfectionism, and intelligence, he is a capable leader should others decide to follow him instead. Though he may not realize it, Katsuki is one of the main motivators of Class 1A alongside Izuku, thanks to his power and an indomitable drive to win. During round 4 of the joint training battle, Setsuna Tokaji admitted that even if her team had attacked him all at once, they stood no chance of victory. In the end, despite Class 1B's exceptional teamwork and Setsuna's strategic planning, they failed to capture a single member of Class 1A, mostly thanks to Katsuki's efforts, adaptability, and superior skills. Cooking skill. Katsuki is surprisingly adept in culinary practice, being able to cut vegetables very quickly and with ease, as well as spotting how Shito hadn't cut chives properly and scolding him for it. Musical talent. Katsuki is highly skilled at playing the drums, having gone through classes in the past.